Okay, so right now we're going to talk about Roman calendars. So, the first thing you should know about Roman calendars is that, um, so when Rome was founded in 753 BCE. So, we're talking before Common Era. And the first king was someone called Romulus. And Romulus made a calendar because they all had to keep track of time somehow. And so he had 10 months. He said the time is divided into 10 months. And these 10 months, there are 304 days. Now, if you think about it, nowadays we have 365 days. So they actually have they're missing 61 days. Missing. And these days were missing because they were during the winter months. So winter, they didn't keep track of time because it was cold and the food and agriculture was not growing. And so nothing important was really going on during those months, at least for the time that they had a 10-month calendar. Now, years passed by, and their next king, a man named Numa Pompilius, decided that, 10 months didn't cut it. They needed a couple more months. So that's when we get the 12-month calendar. And so now we have 355 days. Well, there's still some days missing. And so those days just had to be inserted into the year to keep track. So missing days are inserted. And that made the calendar just keep on track. So if you think about it, this is the reason why we have a leap year. We have leap years. Because we have what we say there's 365.5 days in a year. So, because the Roman calendar and the calendars that we based our calendar on couldn't left some days out and they had to keep inserting them, we now have leap years. So, let's take a look at some of the other things we have on a calendar. So we now have 12 months. Their calendars each month. So you have a month. So we have months. So it was originally 10 months, and they had Martis, Aprilis, Maius, Junius, Quintilis, Sextilis, September, October, November, and December. So if we think about it, and their 10 months started with Martis, what do you think that month would be? So Martis is going to be March. Aprilis, April. Maius, May. And then Junius, June. So those are where we get the names of those months. Now, so 1, Martis is 1, April is 2, 3, 4, Quin, means 5. Sex, 6. Sept, 7. Oct, 8. Noem means 9. And Decem means 10. So that is why September, October, November, and December have those numbers in them, even though September, October, November, and December are no longer the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th months in the year for us. But for the Romans, they were. Eventually, Augustus did change. He's one of the first emperors. He did change Quintilius to July, and that was after his adopted father and his uncle Julius Caesar. That's where we get July. And then Sextilius he named after himself. So his name was Augustus, and he just took the US away, and August, and that's where we get August. So those were the months that they had at first. But then, when Numa Pompilius, so he, remember, is the man who gave us 12 months. So he added 2 more months to the calendar. He gave us January and February. There we go. So, he gave us those 2 months. Now, and so that's how we get our 12-month calendar. So these are the months in a year, and those are what they're called. Next, under months, they had certain days. So, how they kept track of the day of the month is they had the month split up into 3 different types of days. You had the calends, you had the nones, and you had the ides. Now, you should all know, remember who was killed on the Ides of March. So Julius Caesar that was a specific day in the month that they had. It wasn't just, they didn't just call the Ides just because Julius Caesar was killed on it. It happens every single month. So the calends are always the first of the month. So we have the Ides of January, the Ides of February, the Ides of Martis. And then the nones are the 5th, so they're the 5th, or the 7th, depending on the month. So, calend's always the first day of the month, every single month. For the nones, it was the 5th during January, February, April, June, September, November, and December. So that's when it was the 5th. During the months that it was the 7th are the rest of the months. These are the ones who have the odd days. So have 31 days in a month, which are March, May, July, and October. So those 4 months, the nones were on the 7th. So in March, the 7th would be the nones. In April, the 5th would be the nones. And then the Ides were also like the nones. They had 2 possible days depending on the month. So it was the 13th whenever it was January, February, April, June, September, November, and December. Now I'm saying December, if you notice I've been saying that, that's because C's in Latin are pronounced K's, like K's. So Kaiser, December, and then V's, if you've noticed, November V's are pronounced like W's. Now the Ides were the 15th in the months of March, May, July, and October. Again, the months that have 31 days and have odd that end on an odd day. So those are when the Ides appeared. So if you wanted to tell which day it was of the month, think about, how about we do today? So today we would say is, blanking on the month, September. Now I am making this video on, let me think, the 9th, but it will be the 10th when I upload it. So 10th. And so September 10th. So what month would that be? September, September in Latin. Let's make this a different color just so we can differentiate. So in Latin, it would be again September. We get that. Now, we have to figure out what major day is coming up. So, Calends the 1st, either the nones, so we're in September. So let's see, the nones would be on the 5th, that's past. The Ides in September, it would be on the 13th, that's coming up. So the next major day is the Ides. So Ides, so that's important to know. And they counted backwards. So anti-dies, so before the day. So they're saying, so every time they want to say the day of the week, they would say before, number of days before the major day of the month. So AD, let's see, and the Ides are on the 13th, so 13 is when the Ides are, and we want to know the 10th, and so we have the 12th and the 11th, and we count the day that we want, and the day that the Ides are on. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So, and then you use Roman numerals, so IV. So 4 days, anti-dies, the Ides. And that would be September 10th in Latin. So let's do another one. How about we do, what's a good date to do? How about the 18th? So September, how about we do Christmas? So that makes it, well actually, do we want to keep the 18th or not? We'll keep the 18th. How about that? How about we do December 18th? December, there we go, 18th. Okay, so we want to know in Latin, how would you say December 18th? Okay, so we know that December is December in Latin. So, December. Then, we need to know when the next major day is for the 18th. So December, let's see, 18th. So probably going to be the Ides again. Or, well, no, see, both of these come before the 18th. So we need to, it's going to be the calends. So the calends of, so the calends, anti-DA, so days before. And how many days before the calends is the 18th? So let's think about it. So we want the 18th. Well, so it's going to be the 1st of January, and then we're trying to get from the 18th. So let's see. How many days are in January? So there's only 30 days. Well, there's only 30 days in December. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. And then 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's so the 18th is 14 days before the calends of January. So you wouldn't even put this, you would say before, so this is before the Ides of September, before the Ides of January. So we said 14, so X 10, and then 1 V is 14, and there you have December 18th, because it's 14 days before the calends of January. And that is how they told days of the week. Now, later on, you can imagine all of that counting. They thought it was way too much, so they came up with something new. They decided to name the days of the week. Originally, there were 8 days of the week. But then they made it only 7. Only 7 days of the week. And those equated to our 7 days of the week. So we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So their Roman equivalent was dies, so day, solus. Now, what does solus mean? It looks like a little bit like solar, right? Which means it's a word relating to the sun. Notice how we call it Sunday. So, day of the sun. So, day the sun is how you would translate day solus. Now, Monday. Dies, day, lunae. What case is that? think about it for a minute. And look at my translation. So day of the moon. Of the means it's what case? Genitive. So here we have the English. And so day of the moon. Monday or moon day is how we get that. Tuesday. Martes. Dies. Martes. So this is of Mars. And who is Mars? That was a Roman god known as the god of warfare, or Ares in Greek mythology. Wednesday was Dies, so day of Mercury. So who was Mercury? Anyone remember that? He's the god of messengers. So his equivalent in Greek mythology is Hermes. Thursday. So Thursday is Dies Jovis. So Jovis is Jove, day of Jove. He also has another name, Jupiter, and he's the Roman equivalent of Zeus. Next is Friday. So Dies Veneris. I love this one. So day of Venus. And who's Venus? The goddess of love. And we all love Fridays. And then Saturday, Dies Saturni. So day of Saturn. And he's another god. So he's the father of Jupiter. So there we have the 7 days of the week. Yep. So that is all. Be sure to look over each of these and know how to count the days and which months are which. We'll be going more over some of these because there's historical background in a lot of these. Be sure to just be able to review this and know how to count and number the days. So if I ask you, write the Roman date of October 5th, be sure to know how to do that. Now, I don't expect you to memorize all of this, but be sure if you looked at your notes, you would be able to do that.